I don't care if it's costing only $5. But if it's $5, that doesn't bring anything.
With the ones that don't have a price tag associated with it, why is that?
You might be getting to a very dangerous liability concern.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another Wise Bytes. Of course, we've got Eduardo joining us here today for some really exciting news, because today we are going to be talking about AI and WiseOption. Eduardo, how's it going?
Doing well. It's an important topic, and I think we're going to have important information where we are and the industries in general.
Yeah. Well, I guess first question right off the bat is, what are we doing? AI, AI can mean so much today, right? People are using it for left, right, and center and all of the above. How does it fit in with us?
It's taken a while for us to put AI in WiseOption for a reason. I want to do it right. As you know, we are very, I would use the word obsessed about privacy here. And it's one of the huge question marks that we have today about artificial intelligence is regarding exactly that. So we are making sure that once we do it, number one, that we do our way, we do ourselves, not third parties. This is not going to be an integration. This is going to be a WiseOption AI, which I will let you announce the name later. I love the name. But one thing that I want to make sure is that we can have hands-on. The first and foremost important thing that I want to call attention to all the veterinarians out there, regardless what kind of equine business you have, is that if you are utilizing some sort of AI, just keep one important thing in mind. It's okay for you to open the privacy gate of concerns if it's about your information. But as soon as you're getting to the field, handling and dealing with your customers' information, as per our research, you might be getting to a very dangerous liability concern. And that's what put me on hold for a while before being excited about offering something, and be one of the first ones to be out there with that option. I prefer to be late in the process and let some people, hit the head on the wall with these important questions. Now I'm feeling safe. Our project is in very advanced stages because of that concern. We will be dealing in WiseOption with your customers' data, and we must create obfuscation before bringing results. Does it make sense, Rachel?
Absolutely. I think that's been a general concern for a lot of users, right? And for, I think I could say, speak for a wider, right, realm of the population. And especially, right, when you start talking about on the side, right, with medical records as well, is something obviously that just takes that up to that next level.
Yeah. So of course, we have competition out there. We are not the only system for record keeping and expediting logistics for the operation. However, I am still to find one so concerned about that privacy. Amazes me to see how sometimes, as you know, we receive phone calls from prospects that we are dealing with, or even current users, saying, we are considering this system here because they are offering some perks, usually associated with not software related things. And amazes me how they flat open say that the data is their focus. They are after information because information is the value. And above that, what makes me uh, even more astonished is to see that some people are okay with that, not knowing. And that's what I so much would like to bring the topic and discuss this with you. Open the channel. Maybe some people can send us some comments later about this topic with their particular questions. Um, but amazes me how people are not concerned about the legality when you're dealing with your customers' data. And in our case, now getting to a little bit of WiseOption AI, like I said, number one, it's not an integration. We are dealing this ourselves. It's our developers, our codes, our security, our quality control. No third parties here. Of course, we use a robot, an AI robot. We are going in this case with GPT. However, even when we are using their tools, we are not posting data. We are obfuscating data, getting the results, translating internally. So actually, the robots out there will never see real names, real cases, real customers' names, or real patients or horses' names out there, because we are going to provide a mediator in our system that exposes fake data, grabs the output. It could be a scribe, a report, whatever, and then convert it. It's like a encryption, decryption type of thing. I would like
That's
to see if I'm trying to be not too technical in my
right.
explanation, but I would like you to let me know if it's making sense or if it's going in a good direction for our users to understand what I'm trying to say.
No, it makes sense to me. If I could maybe even I'll take it like 5 notches below to where it
Yeah,
normally makes
please
more sense for me.
help me here.
Essentially when sending information, right, like the Eduardo's example there, right? Patient name, client name, etc. Essentially, again, without getting into too much of the technical details of it, Eduardo was very right. And that was one of our concerns in trying to, right, how can we give you that nice response that you want, right? And to be able to use those benefits without giving certain key information over as well. And that's what we've been able to do, to be able to put essentially placeholders in. And so the AI sees the placeholders, but when it comes back, then WiseOption after the AI is done, WiseOption then replaces those placeholders with the actual values there, the client name, horse name, etc. Again, just one extra level there, on security and privacy. I'm sure there's going to be other cases that we'll get exposed to that we'll handle for that, but that's always on the forefront of our mind.
True. I understand that nobody likes to read the license agreements. We usually just to scroll down, click on
Uh-huh.
it, and move
Yeah.
forward. But in this particular case, I would strongly recommend our prospects and current users, if using any sort of artificial intelligence interaction, to be very clear about the terms and conditions that you are abiding for, or abiding to, because you are um, possibly getting to this liability concern that you are not even aware of. And of course, everybody gets enchanted by the fact that AI creates a great output, looks polished, looks, professional. So my warning number one is, yes, a little bit of sales pitch on our side because we've been careful about that. But not only that, even if you're using in other venues, not necessarily a horse system, it's something I believe people should keep in mind from this point on. So this is number one concern. There are other concerns that I'd like to raise as well, but that's why we don't have WiseOption AI out yet.
Yeah. Well, I mean, not to get all pinholed in one direction or nothing, but I think everyone, and myself included, is always like, well, what are we going to use, right? What are the benefits, right? What can we expect in this first round? Because obviously, right, there's first round, second round, and where we're going, right? So I'll divide it into two sections. Let's talk a little bit about what is it going to be when WiseOption users get their first hands on our WiseOption AI. I'm waiting on the name just yet. Give me a second. What can they expect to be able to do? What's kind of the intro, and then secondly, then we'll go on to, okay, where's it going to be going?
Okay. Well, the first phase in WiseOption is going to be scribing. Is going to be giving our users the opportunity to easily interact with WiseOption in a unified platform that it's for the entire system, yet with the ability to activate certain users only for utilizing that tool in WiseOption. Should be seamless. Um, as you know, we are pushing WiseOption 7, the new version, the new generation of WiseOption. That's going to be available on WiseOption 7 only. So I encourage our users to take a look. WiseOption 7 is the browser version. You just run it fully on the browser. And it's pretty much prescribing, not prescribing, scribing the notes. You give WiseOption AI information in as much details, not in an order as it comes to your mind. First round text only, and WiseOption will allow you to create prompts, in other words, formats that will help you in the process. So let's say that you're doing something about sports medicine. It's going to give the prompts for that. If you're doing something related to reproduction, you're going to create prompts for that to help you in the process of collecting data. So you can push that to AI, of course, before sending, obfuscating, process the data so you get the best output ever to make you look good with a very shiny report or instruction or details, discharge instructions, reports, whatever it is, for you to approve and then use it. So that's round one with text only. I would call round two, it's going to be exactly the same thing, but including the voice dictation. So instead of typing, we are going to invite some beta testers, and we'll in the initiation phase will not have charges for this, so you can play with it for free. Um, it's going to be a very on-demand thing. It's not something imposed in the subscription. It's you if you want to use, you use it, and it's basically on demand. But we are going to do on the phase two voice as well instead of typing. Technology nowadays, even for more medical terms, allows us to be more assertive in our transcript from the voice submission. And for the same case with nice prompts is a translation of you're telling AI what you are talking about. That's what prompts are. In a nutshell, it's just a pre-statement saying what I'm doing here is this. So then when you push your content, it makes more sense to AI to see how it will work with that information and bring you back the best output possible. And we're going to be using the highest level available in the industry today in a sense of what AI can do. So that's phase 1 and 2. Phase 3, once we have this, is going to take quite a while, and I think it's where most of the help is needed, at least interacting with people about AI. You can help me with that a little bit later. I think that's the interest number one. But the second step, it's a old desire I have had personally for WiseOption, which is to start having benchmarks, internal benchmarks and industry benchmarks, to put AI to dive into your data. Since WiseOption is one of the very few systems that does not have a single database for all users. Each practice has its own database. So we cannot have that. This is paying off now. You let me know if this needs more explanation later. But the practice itself is not contaminated by other practices' data. We can go that far later on the industry analysis, but we want to get then AI on phase number 3 to asking for, understanding details of the information collected throughout the years. It can be in so many fashions. It can be on the financial aspect. It can be on the inventory aspect. It can be on the technical aspect, based on the charge codes, based on comments, because we have a collection of 25 years of data in certain cases of users that can take advantage of this and say, how are we doing in a concise, unified, unique, separated fashion? But maybe here I'm getting a little too excited and going too many details. But this is phase one, two, three, if that
I
makes
think I think if we stop there, I think it'll be a good way to simplify
sense.
it. So to spit it back out here in a simpler way, phase one,
Yes.
obviously we're
Do the
focusing
bullet
on
points.
a bullet point. So bullet point summary here for you. So phase one initially, right, is going to be focused on, record, I'll call it generation, right? So taking your notes, whatever those notes may be, whether they're exam notes or discharge instructions, or notes from a client call, whatever, and putting them into a nicely formatted, right, well thought out format for you. We'll have some prompts available, as well as you will be able to create your own prompts as well, and you'll learn very quickly that takes some practice. But we'll give you some initial prompts there as well that we've kind of tried to perfect to get the best generation and best response possible for those certain things. As always, general disclaimer, I'm sure those that have actually utilized any sort of AI knows this very well, but I'm just going to put this out here. It is not invaluable. It will do wrong things sometimes. So the whole point of this, right, is to give you a good head start, right? How many times have we been sitting here trying to put our jumbled mess of notes into a nice report format that's taken us sometimes an hour, right, to put together? Whereas if the AI, right, can take that note and put it into a format that's 90% correct, and you have to correct it that last 10%, it might take you maybe 15 minutes. And so it is not a replacement for people, at least right now, for the purposes we are talking about. This is not a replacement for people and human interaction and checking. Always going to say, I'm sure we're going to have a nice little disclaimer that people have to check the box that says that you have to check the generation always, because it'll make leaps and bounds sometimes, and you have to double check it. So it gets you 90% of the way there, but you do need to, there's always that need for review, but it sure does help quite a bit there. And that's the initial, right? So think like comments on procedures, progress notes, discharge instructions, etc., all those fun stuff. And then talking about the second phase there, you said there, that's kind of bringing in, okay, we started with text interaction. Now let's go to like, voice note transcription and, being able to send voice notes over. And then the third, right, that's where we start really getting on that, like, right, thinking outside of the box there. Okay, instead of just asking it for making the text pretty, what can we actually ask it to do, right? So like Eduardo said, some users might have almost 25 years worth of data, right, to ask questions. And of course, WiseOption has, right, a number of, financial and record reports and whatnot, but it's amazing, right? Every 5 seconds, someone can come up with a new question, be like, I wonder if we could get this information, right? And yeah, we can create those reports, but that takes time, right, for us to do and to develop. Imagine having that tool within your own system that only looks at your data, that can then compile that and you tell it, right, I want you to look at these variables over the past 10 years, tell me or show me the trends for these specific variables in the last 10 years. And like Eduardo was saying, think about it on a record side, right? So think about it on the medical side, think about diagnoses and cases and things like that. Think about it on the financial side. So, earnings, records, payments, accounts receivable, et cetera. And then even like on things like the inventory side, right? And so that's that really high level that round 3 is going to probably take a while. But that's that.
Especially those with the academic view will love these tools because we allow them to make very well thought, deep questions to their database and see, different perspective. I've been looking for this for years. And later, maybe phase 4 would be benchmarking. It would be comparing your outputs to other players, other WiseOption users.
Anonymously, I'm going to say that's anonymously.
Absolutely,
anonymously.
We will only compare. You will see your data, and you will see, for example, practice 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but you don't know who they are, and of course, only totals, not specific cases. But this is phase 4. up to discussion if the users want to go in that route. I
Yeah.
think it's important to see where you stand. I personally would be interested as long as we have the assurances. As you know,
Have
again,
anonymous.
it's
Yeah.
all about privacy.
Right.
We want to create more professionalism, make our users look very sharp, expedite the process so you can produce more with the same staff, with your same number of hours of labor, and in a very professional manner, expedite the process, and yet make good decisions as soon as you see well produced reports.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think since we're talking about, we started this conversation obviously talking about privacy. Now we're kind of talking about the fun, cool things to look forward to there and where we're going with it. I think it's a good time to mention too. I think you briefly touched on it there about, and obviously in this initial phase, while it's in beta testing, there'll be a period of time, right, where beta testers will be able to use this at no cost at this time. But I think everyone knows too, right? AI is not free. And so we do have to pay for these services, and it's based on, right, essentially how much you use it, to keep it really simple. So
Exactly.
in the
Because
future,
some
yes, we will
places,
be, yeah,
they might want to go very heavy on the AI usage and open that to all professionals related to the practice. Others might
so
say be more conservative. So I didn't think it would be fair to charge a flat fee, but actually an on demand that you, depending on how deep or how much you want to use this tool, it's going to be proportional. Therefore, small practices will have it available to them as well. It's not going to be something outrageous.
yeah. So I think it's important here to say that at this time, again, same thing, just like always, right? This is an optional feature. If you have no interest in utilizing it, you do not have to. It is not something that you have to
Yep.
utilize. It's an option. So if you do not like AI, you don't like utilizing it, you don't want to use it, that's okay. You don't have to use it.
If you don't
It is an
activate,
opt-in.
nothing happens.
Exactly. Yep. And so it is done both on a per business level, but also then on you can activate it for only specific users as well.
Yes.
So that way you
And
can control, as Eduardo said, with the on-demand
one
pricing
thing that
online.
I also made sure to put our developers very clear about is that I want thorough, granular reports how the tool has been used internally. So you're going to know on a per user basis who used it. You're going to see what the input was, what the output was. So there will be detailed event log accountability. Oh, I didn't do this. Well, unless
Mhm.
you shared your password with somebody else,
Yeah.
which is still your responsibility, still counts as you doing it. Um, Managers will be able to track every single professional in the system, how many times, and for each time, how it was used, what was the input, what was the output, and if that was used finally as a product uh,
Yeah.
exposing to the end customers.
Yeah. And of course, everyone knows, right? Next natural question is, well, how much is it going to be per user?
It's not a per user thing. AI today is calculated on a token situation. That's the terminology they use. So basically, AI came up with this internal currency. It's like how many words you use in your input and how many words AI pushes back to you as an output. So there will be calculations based on that. The larger the reports, the more tokens, the more AI processing is needed. Straightforward things, it's on a flash. And, and of course, mini bytes that you doesn't have the same uh, weight in the interaction with AI. So we basically are AI controls these what we call the per million tokens. Every single word counts. So that's why it's million tokens that they do about. We're going to give more details. This is just the form, but you can purchase. Um, the minimum is going to be 1 million token. It should be in the range of $120, $130 for a million tokens, and you buy that for the entire practice. And we're going to have tools. If you don't activate, nothing's charged again. It's on demand. We're going to give you the option to beta test for free for a period of time. And then if you want to give just one purchase and see how it goes, how much 1 million tokens last for you, it can be, a couple of months, 1 million tokens, or maybe 6 months if you don't use as much. They don't perish. The tokens are, you know, maintained. They don't
True.
expire. I think they do have an expiration. I have to check on that. Don't quote on me,
Okay.
but I think the expiration date is on a yearly or 6 months basis, not something monthly basis.
Yeah.
But you can, and if you are, and there will be tools in WiseOption that will replenish the account with more tokens based on your settings. You can put it manually, or if you're really fond of the tool and you want to use more extensively, you can put it to recharge. You can change your settings, so it's going to be very flexible in that way.
I like it. I'm always a big fan of on-demand services, right? And being able to pay for, a little bit up front, see how you like it, right? Obviously, for a little short time there in the beta testing, it'll be available there for free. But after that, just being able to pay on demand, hey, you know what? I loved it. I want to keep using it. Or, yeah, it didn't really work as well for me as I wanted it to. No harm, no foul. You don't have to lock in with any sort of long-term commitment.
Yes, and some other systems out there, not necessarily medical related, they're using AI on a per user basis. We have seen ourselves other systems doing that, which in my opinion is not fair, because some users might use very light and others might be very deep. I think these companies are thinking on the average, but penalizing the business, because if you have, let's say, 20 users and only 3 will be actually be using it extensively, so that becomes a not very good formula for fairness on the pricing system. So in our option, the business managers, of course, not end users, but the managers operate taking care of the operation, can buy a million token, give the authorization to certain users. That million token, that um, gauge or tank of tokens, for better expression, to will last. They will see how it's going, and they replenish the account with more resources to keep using. And then when they have a good idea, they can put on automation, check time to time, have nice reports how it's going, and it's all about cost benefit. If it
Yeah.
is bringing benefit to the practice, it's uh, uh, I don't care if it's costing only $5, but if it's $5, that doesn't bring anything. But if you are spending a certain amount, let's say $100, and that's making you save 2 hours a week, I would go for that.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely. I think that was a really good explanation on that. And like I said, I'm a big fan of the on demand and being able to judge that and decide per users which ones are going to have access to that. Um,
Yeah, but the
I
key
think,
here, Rachel, for me, I'm sorry to coming back to this, but it amazes me how users, some business owners, are not attempting to the privacy question, and most importantly, sharing data that they should not be sharing.
yeah, yeah, it's definitely I think it's a new, right? It all came very hard, very fast, right? And it's been interesting to watch, in different businesses and how they use it and what they're using it for. I think it's
Yeah.
something that's new things come out every month.
And it's an old saying, maybe if you are watching this video, probably already heard me saying this. Uh, when you find a service that doesn't have a cost, if you find a product that does not have a value, if they don't charge properly for it, you are the product.
Yep.
They are interested in something that you are offering, to give you credits, to not charge for things. Uh, not There's no such a thing as free lunch,
That is very true. It
right?
is. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, you said that. You've said that for a long time, but it definitely makes me take a hard look at some of the things that I use, and with the ones that don't have a price tag associated with it. Why is that?
Yeah.
For sure. Well, I know that we're probably going to have many more videos when it comes to this. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of questions, and especially, like I said, as our beta testers get their first hands on it as well. I'm sure we're going to have a lot of updates come. But I think we've held out long enough on the name. I think we could end here today with sharing the name.
Well,
so can I say that?
As the drummer's roof,
Yeah.
I have to give you congrats because the developers love the name. And by the way, guys, Rachel chose the name. So, the guy said, that's perfect. So the name is
WiseOption Spark.
WiseOption Spark. That's our artificial intelligence helper that we're going to be exploring from this point on in WiseOption 7. And WiseOption Spark has huge promises to help you with your work, to make you look good, to expedite the process of generating very nice surgery reports, pre-purchase, departure reports,
financial
reports, a range of things that you can do with the privacy your business needs and deserves. Because WiseOption is a software company, no conflict of interests.
Yep. Got that going. Well, like I said, I'm excited to go through these next couple weeks here and announce some more updates and keep everyone involved. But as always, if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out. We're looking forward to it, and hope everyone has a wonderful and safe rest of their day.
Thank you very much for the users for being loyal to us and allowing us to. I love experiencing this kind of development. So thank you very much to the users and to the prospects. If you haven't yet, I'm hoping that you make a WiseOption. I have to finish with
see you soon. I love it. I love the puns. Keep them coming. All right. Stay safe, everybody.
Bye-bye.